All right, Jim, NFL Week 11 preview, starts and sits each position. I'm ready to dive in, Jim. Welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Counselor. Excited to talk about this week's games.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the latest news here. There is some breaking news right now. We're going to talk about that. We're going to go through all the matchups, talk about the point spreads, talk about the optimal players to start in each position, talk about everything, getting you ready for NFL Week 11, and just talking fantasy football. So buckle up, strap in, and make sure you got both hands on the wheel if you're driving, because we got a good one here for you, Jim.
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be a good week. I'm excited for Week 11 here.
All right, we're talking about breaking news, and we're talking literally here. Deshaun Watson, shoulder is out for the season. He's going to be placed on IR and will miss the rest of the season, undergoing his right shoulder surgery. I mean, this is a guy that is coming off 1,000+ massage. I don't know how many massages he has, to be honest with you, but he had a lot of massages, and now he's probably going to go back to the massage house because it didn't work the first time, and he's out for the season. Jim, this is terrible.
It is terrible, but Deshaun Watson, man, he's lost his mojo, man. He doesn't have it anymore. I don't know. I think he needs to get some more massages on that shoulder. But I don't know. It just kind of sucks. And of course, in one of my leagues, I took both Christian Kirk and Deshaun Watson as my two quarterbacks. They're both gone for the season, so it's great.
Did you say Christian Kirk as your quarterback?
Oh, I'm sorry. Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins.
You got your Kirks messed up. Captain Kirk. All right. Yeah, it's unfortunate. And the thing is, so much money down the drain for him and Daniel Jones as well. Daniel Jones, what a waste of money as well this season.
Well, yeah. I mean, but it's a neck injury. Those things are always hard to come back from. But would you really want him playing anyway? That team is so god awful. It wouldn't make any difference. It'd just be terrible anyway. So
other news here. So Deshaun Watson's out. And then this is big news here. Is Najee Harris losing his job. Apparently Jaylen Warren is listed as the starter, and this is what you get for sucking. And it's not like you haven't had a chance to prove that you're a compelling and solid running back. You look lackluster, you suck. Now, there was a couple hard runs over the past 3 weeks where he's trying to keep his job, but not enough, Jim, here. Not enough for Najee.
Yeah, kind of surprising that they announced this. He had a pretty good week last week. He got 82 yards and a touchdown, and he's been looking pretty decent. I'm thinking this is still a committee backfield, though. I mean, maybe Warren now moves up to – because they've been kind of splitting the field about 50-50. Yeah. Maybe it goes up to 60-40 right now for Warren. But, yeah, it does suck. And Najee, I'm sorry, man. I'm never, ever going to draft you again. And you're probably going to get traded at the end of this season. That's what I'm expecting. So –
for sure. Other than that, Justin Fields is back. Anything else we need to talk about? I'm not really excited about him. If you have him in fantasy, a lot of people told you to draft him so high. I'm like, dude, he's proven nothing. He's just not that good. And, he might have some boom games here and there, but he's expected to start in week 11. His issue has been grip strength, and he has, and he was nearly there last. So, yeah, grip strength was the issue with his thumb, and now it looks like he's back to go. So, Justin Fields back, Jim. Not that exciting.
Yeah, and I think I'd be okay with starting him. The guy runs a lot of yards. That gives him a nice, safe floor for fantasy. But we can talk about that when we get to the game. So
yeah, a couple more things. Nick Chubb underwent surgery, scheduled for second surgery on November 14th to repair a torn anterior cruciate ligament, whatever, suffered in week 2. So he's well on his way now. He's progressed very well, they're saying, but man, what a catastrophic knee injury that was. So hopefully Nick Chubb comes back. I don't know. I'm never drafting Nick Chubb again after that, man. I just can't do it.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be 28, 29 next year, and coming back from this massive knee injury, I'm not really interested at that point. So yeah, that's it for Chubb for me. So.
And Michael Carter is gone. They got rid of him. And I mean, you're going to have to if you pay Dalvin Cook $9 million to do nothing, right?
Yeah, I don't even know what the purpose of that is. I mean, I guess they felt that they didn't need any more depth on the backfield there, but it's not like he's done anything anyway. But you do have Brees and Cook ahead of him, so yeah.
All right, that's it. That's it for news, really. All right, let's get to the matchups here. First one, we got Cincy at Baltimore, the Thursday game. We got Baltimore at home, 3.5-point favorite in this one. And, when it comes to Joe Burrow, it looks like he's finally back into the groove. Tyler Boyd did well last year. You want to start him. I think Higgins is still going to be out. That guy is useless.
Well, Higgins is dealing with a hamstring injury, so yeah,
Yeah.
that stuff just lingers. He has not practiced so far this week, and
No.
so keep an eye on that. But if he doesn't play, I think I'd be okay with starting, Tyler Boyd again. The thing is, I expect this to be a low scoring game. This is a conference game.
Yep.
These are always very low scoring in the AFC Central. So I think the over under is way high right now, 46 and a half. I would take the under on that, and I would kind of minimize my exposure here. There's, you take the main studs on both sides, but that's it. You should pretty much bench everybody else. So
Yeah, and again, since he's got a tougher matchup versus position, but I want to make a note here. Keaton Mitchell, I think, is a start here. Last week, averaged 11.3 yards per carry, 1 touchdown. The guy looks really good when he touches the ball. I have a stat here for you I want to share here, Jim. Keaton Mitchell is averaging 12.3 yards per carry after contact and has forced a broken or missed tackle on 9 of his 12 career carries. That's pretty wild, man. I mean, maybe it's just luck. He hasn't had the volume yet. That's definitely going to come down, which it should, but looking good to start. So Keaton Mitchell, definitely a good start potentially this week.
yeah, I'd keep my eye on him. I would not start him though. He only got like 9 touches last week, and last week all the running backs were doing good. And don't forget, it's a 3-person committee back there. You got Gus Edwards and Justice Hill too. So and Lamar too as a runner. So as far as picking who's going to win that, that of that group is a difficult prospect. So I don't even want to really kind of wade in there. But Keaton Mitchell is definitely worth rostering. We've talked about him several times on the waiver show,
Yeah.
to see what happens, because an injury happens to that backfield, and all of a sudden he gets boosted up. He gets a bigger workload, and he would be worth it. But for right now,
Actually,
I'd keep him on the bench.
you're right. Only 3 attempts last year. Gus was the workhorse there. When you say workhorse, with 11 attempts compared to 3 to Keaton Mitchell, but they both got a touchdown, so they all look, they looked pretty good last week. And
Right.
reception for 32 yards. So Keaton getting it a little bit done in the receiving game, but the volume isn't there. And I never thought it would be for a Baltimore Ravens running back anyway. But again, just looked good on a couple of runs. If you're desperate at running back, a viable option here. I think Baltimore wins this, man. Thursday night at home. I mean, it's going to
Yeah,
be a good one.
Baltimore's playing good. They're hot. They're playing good. Outside of Lamar Jackson, though, I'm trying hard to convince myself to play anyone else. I mean, maybe Zay Jones as a flex, but I'm not playing Bateman. I'm not playing OBJ. Probably isn't
Hold on a
even going to
second.
play. You know, who else would you play on the Bengals? On Baltimore?
Why'd you
You
say
know,
Zay Jones? Zay Jones plays for the Jacksonville, and he was charged with a battery domestic misdemeanor. You said Zay Jones.
did I say Zay Jones? I'm sorry. I thought I said Bateman and OBJ.
Oh
So
no, I think you said
sorry
Zay
about
Jones.
that.
I'm here. Yeah, Zay Jones was in trouble. That was in the news as well. He's dealing with some legal issues, a misdemeanor,
Yeah.
domestic battery. Maybe that's what you're thinking. You're thinking news again.
I don't know where my brain is. It's too early this morning, man. Come on, give me a break.
So listen to this. Jacksonville Jaguars. Zay Jones was arrested Monday and charged with misdemeanor domestic battery after an argument with a number of his child allegedly. A mother of his child, not member of his mother of his child, allegedly resulted in an injury to her neck. According, so he's in trouble, man. Some domestic stuff going on here.
Yeah, he hasn't played since like week 2, so it's a complete non-factor for fantasy. And it's like, dude, stop this. And now you're going to even miss more time. So good for you. But he's played with Trevor Lawrence, so Trevor Lawrence sucks.
Anyway, it's perfect. It leads right into the conversation. Tennessee at Jacksonville. Jacksonville at home. I'm glad this game came up because we're in that conversation, so it kind of flowed nicely. Tennessee at Jacksonville. Now we're in the 1 o'clock games on Sunday. Now we've got Tennessee, we got Levis. Now, this is actually a good matchup for Hopkins. Now, he's had some ups and downs. They had that good week when they came together. This actually, on paper, is a good matchup for DeAndre Hopkins. And again, at this point, I don't trust Ridley. I can't trust Ridley. I can't trust Trevor Lawrence. I don't trust this team. I don't like this team. Even Etienne, who's been really reliable, had himself a terrible week last week. Let me look at his stats here. We got Etienne. He had 9 attempts, 35 yards, 0 touchdowns, 4.4 points in standard, and 6.4 points in PPR. Jacksonville, a disaster. And then that was a match where they're like, okay, maybe they could win here because they're like, who's the better team? Jacksonville or 49ers? 49ers blew them out, man. It was bad.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I think part of it was the fact that the 49ers defense is pretty good, but also I think it's just the fact that the Jacksonville offense is just bad. It's not
Yeah.
good. And it starts with the quarterback who's not good. And, if he's not good, then how's Etienne going to be good? I think they'll be better this week. They're favored by 6.5. That seems a little generous to me. I think
Yeah,
Tennessee's going to do pretty good on this game. Plus, it's a conference game, so it should be pretty close.
I'll take the
But yeah,
points.
I don't want to really start anyone from Jacksonville except for Etienne. I think you got to start, but
Henry,
otherwise, I
I
would
got
sit everyone
Henry.
else. Maybe Kirk. Maybe you need to start Kirk, but it's just Lawrence is just in a massive rut. So I don't want anything to do with anyone that relies on him. So
Yeah, definitely. I think Levis and Hopkins could have a big game. So if you're playing DFS, this could be a good game. And again, like I said, divisional game. They're going to play it tighter. I'm almost tempted to take the 6.5 towards Tennessee's way. The only thing is, again, Vegas thinks like this. They're like, okay, Jacksonville's at home. They've been a relatively decent team on paper. They're coming off a tough loss, so they're looking to avenge themselves and get some revenge here. So again, that's what I think Vegas is thinking for this matchup. So be careful. I think this is a bit of a trap game where anything could happen. So be careful. Next matchup here, we got the Chargers at Green Bay. Now, in regards to this one, obviously Eckler's a start. Keenan Allen's been red hot, and I gotta say, man, I'm surprised Keenan Allen has been good as he's been. The age that he's been, he's an old aging receiver. Again, a guy that's been kind of had his share of injuries over the past. I can't believe how well he's doing. And it just comes down to volume, being force fed by Herbert. They don't like Quentin Johnston. They were giving it to Guyton last week. Palmer was banged up. Keenan Allen came back in. He was banged up, but I think he's going to be good to go this week. Should be good to go. Aaron Jones got a good matchup for the Packers. Jordan Love's kind of hit or miss. Dobbs, all good matchups, decent matchups versus the Chargers, all worth a start. But again, it comes down to Dobbs and that wide receiver roulette, but I'd probably be comfortable starting Dobbs to get that safe 12-point floor here.
I'm not sure I would. I mean, again, they're spreading it around so much. I mean, the top receivers only getting like 5 or 6 targets. I don't know. I think Christian Watson got 7 targets last week. I don't trust the Packers at all right now. They're terrible. Aaron Jones looks terrible. I
It
wouldn't
does look
start
bad.
anyone on Green Bay unless you absolutely have to. But on the Chargers side, definitely start Eckler, Allen, and Herbert. I think they're all going to be fine. They do know how to score points, but watch them lose this game. I mean, the Chargers defense can't stop anyone. So I don't
Yeah.
know. The over under right now is 44.5 points. I got to think they would exceed that, but I don't think I'd be making any bets on this game.
Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one. I think it'll be entertaining. I think it'll be relatively high scoring, 44.5. I think it might even be higher than that. But again, depends on what type of Justin Herbert you're going to get. Is he throwing downfield? It's going to be interesting to see. But again, hopefully we see some more Quentin Johnston. They used him, get a touchdown last week, but not enough. Not enough volume there still. If you got him, start him, but unless you have a better option. Same with
Right.
Dobbs. And again, if you don't have a better option, he did get a touchdown last week. Yes, Watson was a top getter in regards to targets last week, but Dobbs seemed to catch more and he got that touchdown, which made the big difference. So yeah, it is wide
Right.
receiver roulette continued here. All
Yeah.
right, here's a disaster of a game here. We got Washington at home, 9.5-point favorite here against the terrible Giants. I mean, if you got Barkley, what are you going to do? You can't bench him. Brian Robinson's got a great matchup, and defensively, I do like the Washington defense this week as well. Other than that, I mean, Tommy DeVito, Tommy DeVito. We were just talking. I had this girl on. She does Football is Sexy podcast. I did a show with her. I'm going to release that in the next day or so. But we were talking about how bad the quarterbacks are. I mean, you got Clayton Tune starting, what was it, a week or two ago. You got Tommy DeVito. You got, who's the other guy? The Badgett guy or whatever for
Yeah. Yeah.
Chicago. Tyson, whatever his name. Like, dude, it's a desperate league, and this is just going to be an ugly game with Tommy DeVito starting. I'm not excited at all, man.
Yeah, I mean they've talked about how they're more rookie quarterbacks have started this season than in any prior NFL season because of the injuries. I think it's like 9 or 10 rookie quarterbacks have started this year,
Yeah.
and most of them aren't good. They're not good. It's a tough game, and apparently only about 10 people in the country can play NFL quarterback.
That's
The
crazy.
rest of us are just garbage. I don't get it. I mean, we're a country of 300 million people. Come on, we got to find. We got to find more than 10 that can play. But yeah,
Crazy.
I mean, the Giants. I don't want to start anyone. I don't even want to start Barkley. Why? He's not going to be able to do anything. And Washington, on the other hand, Probably pretty good. I like Sam Howell. I like McLaurin. I like Brian Robinson. Maybe take a chance on you know Jalen. I'm sorry, Jahan Dotson.
Yeah.
Maybe take a chance on them. Yeah, I mean, Giants, forget it, man. They're just pile of garbage for the NFL. Just terrible product. I hate watching bad football. My life's too short for bad football, and the Giants are just the worst. And so,
Well, it's nice
yeah,
that it's a 1 o'clock game, so you can completely like ignore this one, which is nice, right?
exactly. Unless you're in the New York area, in that case, I'm sorry, people. You're gonna have to watch this. Ugh.
Yeah, I mean, you think with Tal, I mean, the thing is, they never got their receiver thing fixed out. The Giants. I mean, you got Daniel Jones. You think he's the guy in such a desperate, world for a quarterback, and that is amazing. You can't find a good quarterback, 300 million plus in America. I mean, I don't know, man. 30. All you need is 32 good quarterbacks. I mean, that can't be that hard, but it is. It's wild. So I don't know, man. This game, Washington, everyone on Washington seems to have a good matchup. But again, Dotson, you're playing kind of wide receiver roulette there. Good
Yeah.
DFS play, I'm sure.
Yeah,
All right,
Washington is 9.5 point favorite, by the way, and I would take the over on that. I think Washington can. Yeah, I would pick Washington even with that line. So
very
yeah,
possible. Yeah, and one thing we're going to the Vegas and Miami game. One thing I'm not seeing as much. I remember years ago, the spreads would always be like 14 or 16. I don't see those type of high spreads as much anymore. I don't know why. It almost seemed like maybe they were too easy or something, but I don't know. I'm not seeing those high spreads like I used to. I remember years and years ago, right? I don't know. Maybe
I don't know. It looks like there's a lot of big wide spreads this week. So let's go on to the next one because it's another huge spread line.
12 points
Miami.
Miami, but it's not like 14 or 16 like I see. I don't see those as often, but either way, 12 is still pretty high. And Miami at home here, obviously, to Tyreek. Actually, Tyreek on paper has a tougher matchup against the corners. Raheem Mostert, good matchup here. Jacobs, you got to start. Adams disgruntled. How good did Adams do last week? I'm going to pull this up because he's been asking for the ball. What do you have? 13 targets, so they're feeding him. 14.6 points. He's just 6 receptions there, no touchdowns. So, you can't say they're not feeding him now, right, Jim?
Yeah, but it's a bad quarterback. What are you going to do? I mean,
ain't no coddle, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I expect Miami to just roll the Raiders this week, and I haven't heard about A-Chain, but I know that he's almost back. I don't know if he's back this week or not, but if he is back and healthy, I'd start him. I'd start Mostert and all the receivers you can get on Miami, and Tua. Tua's great, so play all those players. And as far as the Raiders go, it's just Jacobs and Adams. And probably neither one is going to do that much. They're not on a good team. It's a bad team. Another coach is going to get fired at the end of this year, although it's the interim coach, right? He's going to get replaced. But what a disaster. So,
yep. All right, let's move on here to the Arizona at Houston. CJ Stroud, great matchup here. We got Kyler and CJ. Kyler, start their tight end. Who else? Who did well last week on the? Did anyone do well? I don't really care about their wide receivers. Did not do well last week. I know that no one really shone.
McBride did great.
McBride is the guy. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. But now that Kyler's back, I think this is actually looks like a more entertaining game. Should be high scoring. I like that. And even though Hollywood Brown didn't do anything last week, I'd still start him. Connor is back, so you could start him as well. Like I said, I think this should be a pretty good game on both sides. Lots of points scored. It's exactly what you like to see. So and Houston, start everyone you can, man. It's offensive razzle dazzle in Houston. CJ Stroud is amazing, so I'm sure he's going to keep it up. It's not a hard matchup at all for him this week. So
I love Tank Dell. Damian Pierce does have a great matchup versus position, but I'm very hard to trust that guy if he comes back. I think he's coming back this week.
Is he? I haven't heard if he's been playing or anything, but obviously last week Singletary got 30 touches. Who knows? He could probably get it again. We'll see. I'd start everyone you can on both these teams because I think it's going to be a really good high scoring game.
Yeah, and James Conner got, I think, 13 attempts last week as well, or 16 attempts on his game back, 4.6 yards per carry, but only 7.3 points. Never got a touchdown, didn't get any receptions. So, again, James Conner kind of like hit or miss, but I think he's got a safe floor this week. So, if you got him, start him. I mean, especially with so thin at running back this year, man. It's been wild.
Right. Right.
All right, so let's move on here to Chicago at Detroit. I'm starting everybody on Detroit. Got Laporta, Gibbs, and those guys are league winners, man. Laporta and Gibbs have been doing really well for me. Jared Goff, good matchup. 9-point favorite here is Detroit. 47.5 is the over-under versus Chicago. And in regards to Chicago, man, I mean, who are you? Like Tyson Bagent, I think Foreman's worth a start, and DJ Moore, but that's it, man. I'd be cautious with this team as well.
Yeah, and Justin Fields is probably back this week too, so
Yes,
start him. But that's all I would start on Chicago as well. But yeah, Detroit, man, just great looking offense. They look so good out there,
yeah.
so in control, and they're at home. I think Goff is absolutely a top 10 quarterback this week. So he would be my preference to start in almost all cases if you have him. Yeah, I mean, again, I expect the Detroit Lions to dominate this game. Should be a really good game. They're favored by 9 points. Love it. They're gonna beat that. So
Everything worked out for you and I last week because I don't know, did you have Montgomery started?
yes.
Yeah, he had that big breakout run. So both of us won because we both Gibbs and Montgomery went off. And another thing that went really well for us, remember when we were talking about I need Josh Allen to stay under like 26 points? And he actually, and I won by like less than a point, like, because it was like that last drive, you had Cook running and he kind of fumbled the ball, caught it, and they kept running the ball up the field. Had he thrown one pass on that last drive and rushed that touchdown in, I would have lost. The fact that they ran the ball and somehow managed to get in the red zone and he rushed that in, I won by 1 point. Dude, that was by the skin of my teeth, that matchup.
Yeah,
and that was the highest scoring team. I happened to be playing the second highest scoring team. It just worked out like that. So I could not lose that game, man. I just couldn't lose it. It was wild.
And that was great. And we were in that thing where like I needed Josh Allen to score at least 15 points to win my game, and you couldn't have him score like more than 20 points to win your game. And he got right in the middle there. He was like 19 points. I'm like, yeah, we both got the victory. So
sweet spot, man. We got the sweet spot. The fantasy gods were good to us last week. Let's see if it continues. That's what they say. There is a fantasy god. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
He looks upon us very fondly, or she, whatever it is now. All right, let's go. All right, so Pittsburgh at Cleveland in this matchup here again. Jalen Warren getting that start. Probably start him over Najee if you got him at this point. Cleveland now. Are we? Who's the backup there? I haven't even looked. Deshaun Watson's recently.
Oh, it's PJ Walker. I want to say, yeah, PJ Walker. And I expect this here a low scoring game here, guys. There is not a lot of fantasy points to go around. The over-under right now, 34.5. I think that's the lowest on the week. So, yeah, conference game between two low scoring offenses. You only start the at bare minimum from both of these teams. So, on Cleveland's side, Cooper and Ford. I think Ford's a good start.
Yeah.
But on Pittsburgh's side, yeah, probably Warren. Take a chance on Deontay. Deontay only got one catch last week, but prior weeks they'd been feeding him a lot. I don't know what happened last week to cause him to disappear like that. But that's really it. I mean, shoot, you're not going to start the quarterbacks. The defenses, I think, on both sides would probably be good options this week as well. So, yeah,
I got Pittsburgh. I got Deontay listed as a tough matchup versus position. Pittsburgh's got slightly tougher matchup versus position. That's why it's low scoring. I think Cleveland can neutralize them. So just be cautious of that. But I mean, you got to start Deontay just based on volume.
Yeah,
and
I wouldn't start Pickett or Pickens. Pickett is the other receiver. I wouldn't start him. It's just there's just not enough to go around here. There's so little to go around. So.
Speaking of going around, man, Dak Prescott, that's another thing in that matchup I was talking about that I won by the skin of my teeth. I was actually playing against Dak Prescott last week, and man, did he go off. I played against him. I think he had him and, was it Jalen Hurts? But I had Goff and Love, but all my other players went off. But anyway, it was such a tight matchup. We scored over 240 points each. But either way, Dallas coming back here. They're on the road here, 10.5 point favorite here against Carolina. And in regards to this one, man, Tony Pollard has been an absolute disappointment. And he's busted, man. He's absolutely busted. He does have a great matchup versus position. Pollard owners, I warned you, he's not a true workhorse running back. I thought it would just be injury, but it's simply lack of performance here. So if you got Pollard, man, I mean, this is the week. He's got to do something, right, Jim?
Yeah, and really, I would be okay starting both him and Demario. Is it Demario Douglas is the other running back there that's doing something?
No.
Um, uh, so anyway, the Dallas is favored by 10.5. I figure in the second half they're going to go mostly to the ground
You're
game.
thinking, hold on a
So
second. You got me confused here. It's Rico Dowell. You got your names way off. Jim's got
I'm off. Where's my
you're
brain
way
today?
off.
Yeah,
You're way off
Rico.
today.
That's right, Rico
Rico
Suave.
Suave. Yeah.
And yeah, I definitely start both those guys, but not any more than a flex start for those guys. But I think the Dallas offense, it's really clicking on all cylinders right now. They finally figured it out. I don't know why it took to midseason for them to figure out that, hey, if you throw the ball to CeeDee Lamb, he's going to get you points. And so I expect CeeDee Lamb to have another dominant performance. I think Dak's going to be great. I think Brandon Cooks, you can start him, and Gallup maybe as a desperation start if you need to. But definitely the Dallas defense this week. And on the Carolina side, I mean, geez, Thielen, is
Yeah. I
that?
mean, he's
I mean, who
floor.
else would you want to start? I mean, there's just
Chuba. Chuba.
Chuba. Right.
In
Okay,
nine
yeah, maybe
attempts.
him too.
He had 5.9 points last week, so it's nothing to get excited about. Miles Sanders, what a bust he's been. What's his peak? I'm looking at his peak numbers for the entire season.
He
He's
keeps getting injured, but that's he always got injured every
trash.
season. You
Trash.
know, yeah,
He's done
and
nothing
then
this year.
yeah. I mean, again, a complete waste of $6 million is what they're paying him per year to play. I mean, but whatever. Carolina's not good, so don't start anyone except for Thielen. That's all I would start on that team.
All right, Tampa Bay at San Fran here. We got San Fran. Here's a higher spread, 11.5 points favorite here at home. I mean, San Fran's been a little bit like, up and down. Seems like they finally got their feet under him now, back in the groove here. CMC's got a tougher matchup on paper versus position, but you can't sit him. Obviously, you got to start your starters here. Brandon Ayuk's a start here. Kittle's a start. I mean, how do you sit him? And then the only one I really like is Rashad White and Evans here for Tampa, really. The only ones I would trust.
Yeah, Godwin, you want to put him in there too. But yeah, I would want to minimize my exposure to Tampa Bay this week. 49ers, I think the reason why they got better last week is because they did get Debo back. And so now you got that four-headed offensive hydra that is almost impossible to contain. And so, yeah, I expect San Francisco to dominate. They're at home, 11.5-point favorites. But the over-under is pretty low scoring, 41.5. So they're not expecting Tampa Bay to be able to do much in this game. And I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe made it out of there with just 7, so.
Yeah, Debo a little inflated here. He had one rushing touchdown last week. I don't know if that's going to continue. They're using him a bit in the rushing game. 3 attempts, 29 yards. Helped his numbers last week. Ayuk only 3 targets, 3 receptions. Debo 4 targets, 4 receptions in receiving. But those are your guys, and then you got Christian McCaffrey involved. You got Kittle involved. They got a good offense. They just got to stay efficient, keep moving the ball downfield, let defense do their thing. So they should win this one. I don't think there'll be an issue at all in regards to that. Another one that I'm not really excited about, Seattle at the Rams here. We got Geno Smith, and Geno Smith has been okay. What is
He
he at?
sucked. He's terrible, man. That was my biggest concern. Is like he had a good season last year, but
They're
he's a
6-3 though.
failed quarterback. He's been in the league for like 11 years, and everyone's thinking, oh, he finally figured out football in year 11, and then he goes right back to what he's always been. He's always been a crummy quarterback,
But
and
they're
that's what
six
we're
and
seeing
three.
again.
That's what I'm saying. He's been okay because they're 6-3, right? I mean,
Well, they have some good offensive talent around him, but even then, all of them are struggling. Like all the Seattle receivers are struggling outside of maybe Lockett. And Kenneth Walker's had some good games, but Charbonnet's starting to impinge on that now. This should be a close game. I see the spread's only like 1 point, and I'd start the big stars on both sides, but Stafford's still out, right? So
I
it's
believe
it's
so.
still who's the backup there? I don't even know the name. I don't even know who it is. Who's the
I have not been watching their games here. One sec here, let me pull it up.
yeah. But on the Rams side, you start Cup
Brent,
and you
sorry, that's
start
the name.
Puka.
Brent Ripon. Brent Riper.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, who cares, right?
I don't
And
have any stock. I actually am anti-Rams because again, I'm against Cooper Cup. I just like watching them fail. I love it.
they look so spunky at the beginning of the year. They were like, oh, this team might do something, but
Well, Stafford's coming back. Stafford's thumb should be ready for week 11. His thumb was
oh, well,
injured.
that should be better then. That should be better for the receivers. So I think they're
Yeah.
both good to start. And but on Seattle side, you're gonna start DK Metcalf. You're gonna start Tyler Lockett. You're gonna start Kenneth Walker. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Charbonnet and JSN as a flex play this week as well. They might be able to get enough work to to get some fantasy value, but they're both risky starts in this kind of a game. So
All right, let's move on here to the Buffalo and the Jets here. I will be watching this game because I've got some Brees Hall stock. They just fired the offensive coordinator. The Bills did. So Bills fans are really happy. And I think he's been hindering the performance of Josh Allen. Diggs was coming out. I think he's being a diva saying like, I don't know what the exact quote was. There's something on his story mode that I think he was more of a joke or he says, what did he say here? Let me pull this up here. It was on his story. I don't know if this is true on his Instagram story. I asked him at halftime to get me the ball more. He said, put a Broncos jersey. I'm done. That's what apparently Josh Allen said. I think he's just being I don't think Josh Allen would tell Diggs to put on a Broncos jersey, would he?
yeah, I don't think that's true. But obviously Buffalo is kind of reeling right now. They lost to the Broncos last week. That can't be good for your ego. But let's not forget the Jets are terrible. The Jets did beat them earlier this year in the first game of the season. But the Jets are a terrible team. They're not good.
What do you
And
mean? Zach
so
Wilson's a mother. Never mind. Effort.
literally, right?
Yeah,
Literally he is.
yeah. So
Yeah. Buffalo, you start Josh Allen, you start Diggs,
Garrett Wilson's been good. Garrett Wilson gets the volume. I like him. I have him. He's always consistent for me. He's safe.
yeah, I mean, he's okay, right? He's okay, but he's certainly not doing what we expected him to do at the beginning of this year.
He's disgruntled too, by the way. Him and Diggs and Adams, everyone's disgruntled this year with the quarterbacks.
Because look at their quarterbacks. Look at the quarterbacks these poor guys are playing with. At least Diggs got, Josh Allen says, at least you got me throwing you the ball. I mean, come on. It could be much worse for you. Much worse.
Could be Zach Wilson or Tyson Badgett or Clayton Tune or someone like that. It's
right.
bad.
Exactly. So, and the Buffalo backfield, it kind of came alive last week. Cook's kind of, and Latavius Murray had a big game this past week because he's getting all the goal line work. So if you need a desperation start, I'd put Latavius in there, hope for a couple of goal line rushes. But Buffalo Bills defense, I think, is a good start this week, and just go with that. But on the Jets side, outside of Brees and Wilson, you don't start anybody. So.
All right, moving on to Denver at Minnesota. And we talked about this. I think it was you I was talking about. I'm like, yeah, my only hope is that Denver pulls something out. And, because I had that faith with the Chiefs game. And they did. They beat Buffalo. And I'm like, just watch out, man. Don't underestimate Russell Wilson. He's been doing better this year. He's throwing more touchdowns, a little more efficient. Cortland Sutton's been connecting. Dude, I'm happy that I won and they neutralized Josh Allen last week, man. It was wild. So, again, they're playing Minnesota this week. Denver's at home coming off that win. They've got some momentum here. I think this is going to be an entertaining game. Mind you, I still would like to have seen, Kirk Cousins play, but Dobbs has been doing okay. I think it's going to be entertaining. Isn't Jefferson? I think Jefferson's set to possibly come back. I don't know. Let me check it out.
I think he's off of IR, but that doesn't mean he's going to play this week. We'll have to wait and see. Yeah, that would certainly help. But Minnesota's been hot, man. They've won 4 games in a row now, and they're looking good. Dobbs is looking really good, and there's good offensive weapons on this team, and they utilize them.
Yeah.
Obviously, Madison being out on concussion protocol is probably going to hinder them a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised to see Denver pull off another upset this week, man. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened. They're playing much better.
They're the favorite. And the thing is, I think the Vikings are doing better. They're winning more without Jefferson in the lineup, which is wild. So they've been doing better since. So I think, maybe get rid of Jefferson. Isn't he is he not getting paid his mega contract yet? I don't think he has, right?
I don't think he's been paid yet, but you're not going to get rid of Jefferson. What are you, nuts? Come
You
on.
got
The dude's
Addison.
the dude's a superstar. He's really good. So yeah, I mean, it'll only make the team better once he comes back. So
I don't know. They were losing with him there, and now they're winning. So I don't know what to
they
tell.
they were also losing with Kirk Cousins, and now he's out of there. They're winning. I don't know, but um,
Scrap the
uh,
whole team. Let's get the cheap guys. The cheap guys are going to win us games, right? Get us
right,
Dobbs,
right.
and Addison, the cheap guys.
There you
We don't need
go.
Jefferson. We're not going to pay him mega. We got Addison. Addison's that caliber. He could be that good, man. Just give him the volume. Like he was a first round pick. He's no joke.
Addison is good, but I'm just not sure. And you'd certainly start him, certainly, absolutely start him. But I mean, come on, Jefferson is the king in that receiver core, and he's the one that's going to get all the volume once he gets back. So
Yeah. All right. This is going to be an exciting one. We got, oh no, this is drama. Monday night, Philly at KC. We're going to see some Swift action, Taylor Swift, DeAndre Swift action. Dude, I don't know, man. It's going to be entertaining. But again, we got the Kelseys going at it. More media hype around these guys. They won't stop shoving them down our throats, man.
well, a nice replay of last year's Super Bowl. We'll see if Philly can pull out the victory this time. Certainly, I love this for fantasy. This should be a huge fantasy game. Start everybody you
Rashi
can.
Rice, great matchup for Rice. I'm starting him, man. Love him.
Absolutely, absolutely. Rashi Rice, I would start. But yeah, I'm excited about this. And I don't know if you saw this past week, man, but Kelsey went to Argentina to see Taylor Swift in concert down there. I think this is for real, man. This is true love for
But
Kelsey.
she
So
didn't go to
good
see
for
him.
him.
When he played in Germany. She didn't fly to go to that Germany game, though.
No, but come on, she's already been to like 3 or 4 of his football games in the
Yeah.
States. But like I said, it's David Beckham and Posh Spice, circa 2025. These two,
Who
let these two
cares?
just love each other and give us all hope. Come on.
Again, I was talking to Monica from that podcast, Football is Sexy, and then she said that if Kelsey were to ever end this relationship, it's over for him. He's got to have a white picket fence, some ranch out, some farm. They got to get married, have kids together, and have this perfect life. Because as soon as he breaks up, or if they break up, or something happens, it's over. Because those Swifters or Swifties or whatever they're called will not relent on Kelsey. And yeah, his reputation could be mush if he breaks this off. You know.
I think the biggest risk is that Taylor Swift writes a song about him after they break up. That's the biggest risk. But I think Kelsey will be fine. He's a good looking guy. He'll find someone else if it doesn't work out.
Yeah, but his
I'm
reputation.
rooting for these kids. Good for them. True love. It's hard to find in this world. Once you find that, you got to go for it. So there you go.
Oh, I don't know if it's true love, but we'll go with that. Yeah, it's going to be an entertaining one. At least we got an entertaining one for Monday. Hurts, Mahomes, two of the best going at it, and yeah, get the popcorn ready. Let's see. I just don't want to see any more Swift. They're going to keep panning over to her though. It is
Oh well, they don't pan over to her when they're playing the football game when there's a play happening. Just in between, that's fine.
maybe I'll.
But anyway, that looks like a good game. I'm excited to see this game for this week. I want to see Philly pull out the victory over Kansas
Yeah.
City, revenge last Super Bowl, and maybe we'll see them again one more time in February this year. So who knows? But
I'm going
anyway.
for Philly, man. Okay, let's do the defenses here. Who we optimal defense? Washington just jumps out at me.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. If you can get Washington, I would absolutely start Washington. I think the Detroit defense is probably going to be pretty good too.
Yes.
Against Chicago, I think that's a good choice. And then, like I said,
Green Bay versus the Chargers. I don't know. Maybe, right?
I'm not sure. That Chargers defense is just awful. They just can't stop anything. So I don't think I do that. But well, Dallas, everybody's going to start Dallas.
Minnesota versus Denver could be decent.
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I want any part of that.
Baltimore for
But,
sure against Cincy and San Fran versus Tampa. And then the Rams against Seattle and your Geno Smith. I got them listed as a possible stream.
Yeah. Miami, I think would be a good start for defenses. So yeah, there's some good options this week, even if you stream. So Don't
Well,
worry about
man,
it.
what a show, man. Week 11 is here. Go win. Subscribe. Drop some questions below if you have them. And yeah, man, week 11, Jim. Can you believe it? I keep saying that every week, but week
I
11 is
can't. We're
here.
almost to the fantasy playoffs here. We only got like 3 more weeks till the fantasy playoffs start. So anyway, make sure you got your team all tuned up. I think we're almost at the trade deadline for most fantasy leagues. So if you got any last second trades, I don't know, it might be too late, but you might still be able to get some trades done for the fantasy playoffs. But anyway,
Jim, I just thought about it. I didn't even look at your sweater this whole time. I have a sweater that's similar in colors. We should wear it and be twins one day for an episode. What do you think?
oh, that sounds very dorky. Sure.
Yeah, I got like a blue and orange, so maybe we'll wear it one day together. Tell me what you're wearing. We'll match for the. We'll be matched.
Yeah, I'll call you. What are you wearing today? No, we're not high school girls. Come on, we don't do that.
All the Swifties are rubbing off on me now. That's all right. All right, man. We're kind of matched. I got the hat, the blue and the red, but close enough. Anyways, enough of that. All right, man. We'll talk soon, guys. Subscribe, thumbs up, drop your questions below. We're out, and we're gonna try to match next episode. We'll talk soon.
All right. Good luck in week 11, everybody.
We're out. Bye.